Why is mindset important for game development? I would say having the right mindset is crucial for success in any field, including game development. So let's look at a few reasons why that would be the case. Let's break it down. We'll break this one down. So let's say five things. So I think the first thing would be creativity and innovation, because game development requires creativity and innovation. I mean, that's just a matter of fact. A positive mindset helps to foster these qualities and encourage developers to think outside the box and also think of inside the box as something that they can use to be able to create a unique idea. Sometimes it requires that you create something that's consistent, that's well known, that's inside the box, and then you can take that idea outside the box to make it even more interesting and come up with new ideas. I would say the second thing is perseverance. Developing a game is going to be a long and challenging process. A positive mindset can help developers stay motivated and persevere through almost any difficulties that they may encounter along the way. And it will allow them to spread that feeling, spread that energy on to other team members to finish the process, because you have to motivate each other. You have to keep each other motivated to know that this is going to be done, and it's going to be done the way that the story and the backstory allows it to be within whatever the story is or the game that you're creating. The third thing I would say is adaptability, which is a major thing. Being able to adapt to an industry that's constantly changing, with new technologies, trends, and all these kinds of things emerging all the time. Having the right mindset, having an open mindset to change and willing to adapt to let's say to develop new ideas and stay ahead of the curve to create new games and keep them relevant and engaging. You have to have an open mindset, and you have to be able to adapt. So adaptability would be a major thing, and obviously collaboration. Game development is a collaborative process, just period. That's what it is. It's not a singular process. And even if you were to make a game, quote unquote, on your own, you're still using something like Unity or Unreal, which is a collaborative process because you're using someone else's game engine, you're using someone else's libraries. You're not making anything necessarily from scratch. And even if you did, it probably wouldn't be worth selling or someone else buying, maybe just for fun, maybe for educational purposes, but not necessarily to make something that is going to sell. And so the collaborative process is very important to be able to harness for yourself and for your team, with team members, with developers, with artists, designers. They're all working together for the common goal. So it's imperative that you're able to collaborate and communicate with these different people in these different fields. A positive mindset can help foster teamwork, communication, and collaboration, leading to a better outcome, an overall better outcome, and a more enjoyable development process. The development process is not laboring. I mean, it is difficult, but it should be fun to do and see things come to life. And I would say the fifth thing would be customer focus. And this is one of the things it seems some people forget, is that when you're making a game, who are you making a game for? Even if you're making it for yourself, who are you making it for? You're making it for the customers. You're making it for the fans. Ultimately, games are developed for players, and having a mindset that is focused on creating an enjoyable and engaging experience, for the customers is key to success and in any industry, including gaming, or including the game development industry. So by putting the needs and the desires of the players first, developers can create games that are both commercially successful and beloved by the audience. And the audience normally are the fans, including if it was just for you. How to develop a growth mindset? Well, developing a growth mindset is all about changing the way you think. You can't utilize what you already have been doing. You have to utilize some changes, because each project that you do is a new world in a way. So you sort of have to change the way you think. And then when you go into projects like game development projects, you definitely have to change the way you think and think about your abilities and your potential. So there's one thing of abilities, the things that you currently have, and then there's the other thing of potential possibilities. So let's look at some strategies to develop a growth mindset. Number one, I would say embrace challenges. Instead of avoiding challenges, actively seek them out. this is an opportunity to grow. Every time you run into a challenge, it's an opportunity to grow. Don't be afraid to take them on. Don't be afraid to take on new projects, even if it's a project that you're not really comfortable with, even if it means like project management or coding and you're not used to coding. When you're first starting, you got to do this anyway. And this is what's going to help you grow and embrace those challenges. So, that's step number one. Number two, I would say learn from failures. That's a major thing, and you're gonna have to do that making games. I don't care if you're an artist. I don't care if you're programming. I don't really care what you're doing. Music, anything. Whatever you do, you're going to have to learn from failures. If you can't learn from failures, you should stop now thinking about making games at all. Failure is a natural part of learning anyway, regardless of what you're learning. Anybody who reached pro status, or a status where they can sell something, or a status where they create something that someone else wants to buy, had to fail along the way. And it's not really failing, it's a failure, and then you be able to learn from that failure to actually learn. So instead of being discouraged by it, use it as an opportunity to learn and improve, analyze your mistakes and failures, and figure out how you can make it different next time. It's like beta. Think about it. Every time an application comes out, they bring it out in stages because they know it's not going to be perfect, and they have to learn from their failures. As people bring in bug tickets on an application, they fix those bugs and then they put out a new version of it, or they make improvements all the time. They learn from their failures. The third thing I would say is focus on effort. Instead of thinking of your abilities as fixed, focus on the effort you put in instead. Believe that with hard work and dedication, you can improve and achieve your goal. And I think the fourth thing would be open to feedback. Don't take it as a negative. And instead of taking feedback as a criticism, see it as an opportunity to learn and grow. Be open to constructive criticism and use it to improve your skills and your abilities. The fifth thing, I think it would be to surround yourself with positive role models. Surrounding yourself with people who have a growth mindset can help you develop one as well. Seek out positive role models who inspire you and help you develop new skills and knowledge. You can't fail doing something like that. And even if you do fail, you're going to learn from it, as we learned from the last step. And I think the last on this list, because this list, like all the other ones, can go on and on. Keep learning. Continuously learn. Because continuously learning is key to developing a growth mindset. Keep seeking out new knowledge and experiences, and the people who are also interested in that. And don't be afraid to try new things within context, So if you remember that, developing a growth mindset, it's going to come naturally for you. And you also have to remember that developing a growth mindset is a process. It's not like you just get it. It's a process of elements that you build upon, which means it takes time. It's like exercise or learning to play a sport or learning to code. Like anything, it takes time. But with practice and perseverance, you can change the way you do almost anything, including the way you think. And your abilities and your potential will be unlocked, and new opportunities will grow from that, and new successes will find you. What are some common obstacles in game development and how to overcome them? Well, game development can be a challenging and complex process, and there are several obstacles that developers may encounter along the way. Let's look at a few of them here, and as I was doing earlier, we'll put those in a sort of a list. I don't know how long this list is going to be. If it's not going to be too long, I'm just going to sort of think about this, because I think if we break this down, the first challenge of any game development process is going to be technical challenges, because developing a game requires a wide range of technical skills, including programming, graphic design, sound engineering. Technical challenges can arise just by, doing something simple to anything complex. So you'll run into bugs, you'll run into compatibility issues, hardware limitations, syntax issues, as far as not knowing how to syntax meaning the code that you're writing, how it's supposed to be written, or some sort of code structure that you're not familiar with. So to overcome technical challenges, it's important to have a strong team with a diverse technical skills, as well as a solid plan for testing. Testing allows for quality assurance. So the other thing you want to add to that is understand that to protect yourself in a way from being stuck on technical challenges is to keep the APIs, the documentations of those things that you're using in a place where everyone knows where they are, where you can access it, and you can actually use it as a reference to address certain challenges that might arise. I think the second thing would be scope creep, which I can tell you already, I was guilty of this. And what that is in game development, you get very excited about a game, you get very excited about the creative process, but it's also easy to get carried away with new ideas and features. You just start adding new ideas, adding features, and you forget about the actual game. You forget about the backstory, and then it just gets bloated and crazy and out of control. And you don't have a game, you just got a bunch of features that doesn't make any sense. So scope creep can occur when the scope of the game is expanded beyond what the original plan was. So that's why the documentation is very important, and the game development document is important. So no one goes beyond what the original plan was until the initial plan is complete. When you do that, when you go beyond the original plan before the plan is complete, it leads to delays, increased costs, potential burnout of developers. They get burned out very quickly when this happens because they're never really reaching a goal. It's almost like one of those movies where you're running down the hall, but the hall keeps increasing. So to overcome this scope creep, it's important to establish a clear vision and scope for the game early on, right in the beginning, and to maintain regular communications and collaboration with the developing team. I think the third thing would be marketing and distribution. These, again, we're talking about the common obstacles, right? So marketing and distribution, it's part of creating a game, because you're making the game for people who you want to get the game to, even if you were getting it to them for free. So that's still marketing and distribution. Creating a game could just be the first step, obviously, for developers, but you need to be able to distribute that game effectively and to the target audience. So you should be able to know who your target audience is. And this can be extremely complex at times. It can be extremely time consuming. And I wouldn't say it could be extremely time consuming. I would say it is extremely time consuming, requiring knowledge of marketing, sales, distribution channels, those sort of things. But to overcome these obstacles, developers, if you're solely a developer and you don't know anything about that, you should start a marketing plan right away and distribution strategy extremely early, and seek expert advice and guidance if needed. Maybe even go on Fiverr and have somebody market it or distribute it for you or whatever it might be. But you need some other team members on that, so you're not really focused on that while coding. And even if you're done coding or developing, you have other resources that you can use to help you with that, because that's an entirely new hat that you're putting on once you start that process. I would say the other obstacle, major funding for most developers. If you're making, let's say, even a AAA game, if you're not even, but that's a major endeavor there. But let's say you just want to make a fun game and you want to get it out to people. Funding could be an issue, because developing a game could be extremely expensive at times. It depends on the type of game and the scope of the game. And securing that kind of funding can be a major obstacle for independent developers. To overcome that challenge, it's important to have a clear business plan and a pitch. A pitch deck would be great. And if you don't know what that is, go look on the YouTube channel, and I have a thing on pitch decks. And if you don't find my video, you can find other videos on pitch decks. That's even more important than even developing the game at times, because you can get money based solely off of a pitch deck in some cases. That clear plan is going to allow you to explore the range of funding options that you may have access to, including grants, crowdfunding, and partnerships and publishing. And I think the fifth element in regards to common obstacles you may be facing when developing a game would be burnout and mental health. So burnout and mental health can creep up on you Depression can creep up on you when things are just not working the way they should, when team members fail you, when tasks are not done. So you want to be aware of this. Game development can be a demanding and stressful process. Burnout and mental health issues can be common obstacles for developers. So to overcome these challenges, it's important to prioritize your self-care. That means sometimes getting off the computer. That means sometimes going to exercise a little bit in the middle of the day, and balance between work life and regular life. Seek out support and resources as needed. You want to seek out support and resources for everything, including mental health, counseling, community support groups, those sort of things. And a lot of times when you have something like a Discord, or you have a public group that you can talk to and you can actually bounce things off of, it helps prevent this sort of burnout and this mental health issue that can arise from being immersed in developing a game, especially if it's not coming out the way you thought it should, or a time scale in which you thought it should be done is not being completed in that particular time scale. So by anticipating these obstacles and developing strategies to overcome them, developers can improve their chances of success in this challenging and rewarding field of game development. It's both challenging and rewarding, but you do need some elements of this mindset idea and the ability to address obstacles, technical issues, collaborative issues, to make sure that things work smoothly. Which brings us nicely to the idea, or the question of how to stay motivated and focused during game development process. Staying motivated and focused during a game development process can be challenging, as well as everything. It can be challenging, but there are several things that we can do. And one of those major things that we can do is a task list, especially for a team, and in my view, if you've been watching my videos long enough, when I say a team, I mean an individual can be a team, because I don't see humans just as part of your team. Sometimes it could be anything, like word processor. It could be an IDE. It could be almost anything, including people. So setting your goals, task lists, setting your goals / task lists is going to be the first thing. Having clear goals and deadlines can help developers stay focused and motivated. Break down large goals into smaller ones. Don't have some massive goal that looks so impressive that no one wants to actually confront it. You want to break those things down to something more manageable tasks, and spread them out. Set the deadlines for each task and ensure that the process is being done. So you want to check up on those things, especially if you have a team. As the project manager, you want to check up on to make sure that the task is being done. Before the deadline, you might want to send an email saying, hey, we're coming up on this deadline. Are you on task? And the person might say yes, or I need a little bit more time. And you won't be shocked when the day comes and you don't get what you thought you were going to get, the deliverables. And that brings us to this idea. If you break things down that way, then you can then celebrate small wins. And small wins means maybe like there are these small things that you wanted to develop on a character or something like that, or you wanted to get the documentations connected to some other documentation and you finally got that documentation in place. It doesn't have to be coding. It could be something on the artistic end, it could be something on the music end, it could be something on the coding end, or whatever functionality end. And you want to celebrate those little victories, and that's going to keep everybody motivated and keep morals extremely high. The more little victories you have, the more success you're going to encounter in the future for when you end up hitting the goal, the ultimate goal of finishing the game. Remember, little doesn't mean not difficult. It's those difficulties that are complex and those difficulties that come to you that are simple. And achieving these new milestones and acknowledging them and celebrating them can encourage everyone to push forward and to complete the overall process. It lets everyone know also that the process is being made on the game. So keep that in mind. Also, you want to be able to stay motivated. You must learn to take breaks. You must learn not to be up late at night if you don't have to. And you got to remember that being late up at night sometimes causes more problems than they should. It's better that you go to sleep and wake up early and start early. Even if it's 4 or 5 o'clock, you go to sleep on time and then you wake up extremely early and use that time to finish whatever you were up late doing. So taking a break is extremely important. It's good for your health. Taking regular breaks can help prevent burnout and maintain focus. I should have put that as number one. But That could be taking a break in the day. It could be taking a break, like I said, right before the time for you to go to sleep. And sometimes it means taking a longer break than you otherwise would have to make sure you recharge and make sure you're refreshed. So that's another thing that you're going to do to stay motivated and stay focused. I would say the fourth thing that you would want to do to stay motivated and focused would be to stay organized. Not being organized can drive you insane, especially when this comes to making a game. Especially if you have a team that you're working with. Not being organized can crush a team. It can crush any project. So you want to keep track of tasks, deadlines. Progress can help reduce stress. So by understanding that progress can help reduce stress and improve your focus, you understand that progress only comes by you being organized. So use project management tools to keep tasks organized and establish a clear communication plan with developers and team members to ensure everyone is on the same page. And that's also why you would have a game development document. You want to stay excited. Okay, so this would be number 5. You want to stay passionate about what you're doing. You want to stay excited about what you're doing, excited about the story, excited about the game. And you want everyone to you want that to be infectious. Everyone should be excited about the game and developing it. The game development can be a long and challenging process, as I said before, and staying passionate about the project can help maintain motivation and focus. You want to keep the end goal in mind, and that is to make an exciting and fun game. Remind yourself of that always. Every time you start the project, every time you start any project, remember that is the case. And you're doing it for the fans, including if the fan is just you. And I would say the last thing on this list, so this doesn't go too long, of staying motivated and focused, is collaborate and communicate, collaborate and communicate, collaborate and communicate. I said that 3 times because that's extremely important. And don't think of this list as from the most important to the least important. I'm just making this list. They're all just as important, but I would say collaboration and communication can help enhance all the other things on this list. Collaboration and communication with your development team, with your artistic team, and the truth is, when I say development team, it means the people who are doing the art. It means the people who are doing the coding. It means the people who are getting the coffee or whoever it might be. They are all part of the development team. They're all part of the same family. And I think that keeping everyone motivated and focused will help to ensure a successful project in the end. And you always want to do regular checkups on team members. You want their feedback. You want to work together and solve problems and overcome obstacles together. So by incorporating these strategies into a game development process, developers can maintain motivation and focus throughout the entire project. And that will lead to success and a rewarding outcome.